Hello, Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're located a couple doors north of the original Montgomery Inn on Montgomery Road and across the street from Montgomery Cyclery. If you want to visit us, we have a nice, lovely parking lot behind the store and a rear entrance to our business. I write a monthly blog, which can be found on our website, audibleelegance.com. We also do work on Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to do some upgrades on Facebook here pretty shortly. And today I thought I would talk about a request that actually came in from a couple that she does not enjoy hearing the sound from the basement when the husband is playing the system. This is not an uncommon event at all. More often we have problems presented to us where they're trying to put their children to bed and the noise is keeping them awake. So the couple can't enjoy something together. And they were originally looking at some ceiling panels that we have in our store, thinking that that alone would solve what they're trying to deal with. That's not true. The length of a base note is incredibly long, 30 to 40 feet, So something like that is going to, essentially roll right through a pillow, which is what a lot of the ceiling pads are. I mean, they're foam filled, shaped, and with cloth on them, and you can stick them to the ceiling. And bass notes and that sort of stuff is going to roll right through that. What other sounds they're trying to deal with, I'm not sure. So here's what I tell people to do if they want my help. You can go out on the web, and there are plenty of applications that actually allow your phone to become a sound pressure meter. And some of them are advanced enough that it breaks it down by frequency. So the first thing you need to figure out when trying to deal with sound isolation is what frequency range is really presenting the problem. You also have to keep in mind that sound absorption really is based upon its thickness and density. Unless you're dealing with something like the ASE tube traps, and they do things a little differently. Actually, that was an invention of Bell Laboratories in the 50s, so it's been around and understood. I worked with them at Baldwin Piano and Organ Company, was an attorney for them. I saw their sound room and things that they would check pianos with, electro pianos. I have a wonderful article, by the way, coming up on a Dr. Daniel Martin, who's now since passed. I'll leave it go at that because I really want to give him the honors that I can. Now, when you're dealing with sound isolation, the other thing that's pretty commonly done by builders is they tell you for an additional $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000 that we're going to put Pink Panther insulation between the floor joists, and that's your sound isolation. No, it's not. There's a number of reasons for that. Number one is it's usually not very dense, so the frequency it does affect is pretty high. The other thing is that any drywall attached to the ceiling is attached to the floor joist, which acts as the transmission line to the floor above. So putting stuff between the floor joists is not going to have any effect whatsoever on that transmission line. The other one that I tell people to do, trying to figure out the problem, this is particularly true if you have a multi-story house, is to turn something on fairly loud in the basement, but then go over and listen to your heat ducts or air conditioning ducts in the room that seems to be problematic, and see if you can hear it clearly. You'd be surprised how often that is the case, because the ducts are steel or tin, and sound just goes bouncing up and away it goes. So if the room is located near the furnace, well, there you go. It's just shooting right up those lines. The same can happen on return lines as well. Many times those are also tin, different shape obviously, but again, they can be the transmission line for noise. So the first step in trying to understand what you're dealing with is to get something like that program or programs that are out there and try to learn what frequencies are actually the source of the trouble. From there, then we have various products where we can begin to say, okay, this is what you need to do, or this is what you can do. And that's the way to start the whole process of sound isolation. The most perfect way of doing it is building the rooms properly before this even becomes an issue. There are techniques to do it. I'm quite familiar with that. I've done it in my own building here. So I can have a theater running at pretty much full volume, and at the same time have a nice demonstration, let's say classical music in my high-end room, which is next door, and you don't hear either one of them. So there's ways of doing it. Once something is built, well, then that's where the treatment comes in to try to figure out what's going on. The best approach is always to prevent it from even starting. So you might look at a couple of my earlier videos that I did about sound isolation as a help. But today's couple, they were willing to spend $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 on, ceiling padding to solve the problem. And I see no reason to disappoint a customer and wind up with a nasty refund anyway, because it simply is not going to work. So there we are. If you have a problem, take a look at it, use those programs, and you'll have a good idea where you need to go.